So I'm going to show you guys different fire lays. The first one I'm going to show you is the log cabin. So what you want to do for the log cabin fire lay is get your bigger, thicker pieces of wood first. Just start your base off. So, just like a log cabin or Lincoln logs, you just stack it up like that. Get them nice and set so they don't roll too much. Then once you got your bigger stuff, just try to keep progressing a little bit smaller each time. I want to get down to the little pieces. And that's about good for the size. You don't want to go too much bigger than that, or else you're just burning wood a little too quick. So to fill it in, we will take some dry grass we collected here from the field, and you just want to bunch that up decently. Stuff it down in there to the bottom. And then you can fluff it up a little bit, so when the flame or spark goes in there, it's got room to breathe. So once that's fluffed up a little bit, go ahead and take your little kindling pieces. Same thing, just break it down, pack it down. And you can just stick them in there. It's rolling around a little bit. No worries though. And once you get that, you can start putting a little bit thicker pieces on top. You might want to, yeah, you're definitely going to want to leave a little bit open on the top for more dry grass, so you're able to light it on the top and the bottom. It's not completely necessary, but it does help speed things up getting ignition. So put a little bird's nest on top, grab a few more little sticks, just lay them on top, give it room to breathe, and then you can light it. The next one we're going to do is a lean-to fire, and with lean-tos you can use wet or rotten pieces just for this part. It's not going to burn too well, but you don't need to use the dry wood for the prop. And you just stick it like that, and you'll take your dry grass here, break it, ruffle it up a little bit, get those fibers exposed so it's easy to ignite. Kind of form it into a little bird's nest, just like that, and then you stick it right up against that. Any other fire, you're going to start with your kindling pieces next. Just like a lean-to, you just rest it up against that support. And you want to get a little bit bigger pieces next and build around it. We don't want to top around, but make sure you leave the sides open. One of the reasons this fire method is a little bit easier than others is because there's a lot of airflow going in from both sides. Like this, the air can go in through all those sides and really make that fire burn, but the problem with that is it will burn a lot faster, so you're going to go through wood a lot quicker. Okay, so the next one we're going to be doing is the teepee fire. First, you want to start with your tinder. Tinder can be anything. We're using dry grass, like I said, but you can use anything like birch bark, cedar bark, dried moss, dryer lint. Dryer lint works great, especially for throwing sparks and starting a fire with a ferrocerium rod. So we will set this tinder here, fluff it up a little bit, get a nice little bunch. Then we're going to take some sticks. Some of them a little bit bigger than we usually start with, but that's just so we can get a good base. You can stick them in the ground if you want to. It helps keep them in place. Then you can literally just build off of that. Might be a little high. It is. That's a little better. So then you'll take your smaller pieces of wood, just fill in the gaps. We did not use any kindling yet. It's falling apart, I'm sorry. So then, this is what you want to use next. Fill in the gaps really closely. Find kindling. You can even take some, break it up so it will fit. Stick it on top of that pile of tinder. So when that thing gets going, it'll burn those and be able to ignite the bigger pieces of wood. Look at that. Just fill it in. And then once that thing gets burning, those little pieces get burned up. You can take the thicker pieces of wood, start putting them on there just like the rest of them. Just lean on top of each other. And what's common with this type of fire is it will collapse. Sometimes, most of the time it does. No big deal once you get that thing going. And the coals and embers, you can just keep putting wood on and it'll burn just as good. The reason that you want to start your fires in different type of fire lays, like all these, is so you have good airflow for when you're starting your fire, because giving it a lot of oxygen is what it needs to keep it alive and keep it going. So these are 3 fire lays, 3 most common ones. There's other ones, of course, but these are just the ones I tend to use the most. You got the lean-to, the log cabin type, and the teepee. So there you go. To have a successful fire, you need 3 things. You're gonna need fuel, heat, and oxygen. As you can see, we got all that with these fire lays, and that's why they tend to work so well. A lot of oxygen, both good and bad. Your fire is going to burn a lot quicker and a lot easier, but you're also going to go through more fuel and more wood. When you don't have to do that, or when you don't want to do that, say in a survival situation, you don't want to go burn more calories getting all this wood. You definitely want to block some of the oxygen. You want it to be able to breathe, but you don't want it to have so much oxygen that it just burns up real quick. Another way to keep your fire burning longer is using hardwood. This is pine. We just have a lot of it around here. It's not the best for a long burn, but it does burn quickly, and it's easy to find some dry and dead pine just laying around. So there you go. Alright, it's filming. Alright, so we got some feather shavings from wood, and you do that simply by holding your knife stationary and just pulling your piece of dry wood back. You get some nice curls like that. Just peel them off, stick them in your little tinder bundle. You can see how well this works. I have to get down a little bit closer. So trick is not hard, not too hard at least, but you want to keep your knife stationary and pull back on the ferrocerium roller. There we go. Finally, let's try to keep this going. Big hunk of wood. Jamie's going. Stick it in there. Ugh. Sometimes it takes longer than you expected, but just gotta keep trying. Press on and you'll make it. Oh man, that's really going good. Whew. Cameraman Brian was getting a little bit cold. Yeah, we did it. Took way longer than it should have, but we did it. Burning up here pretty good. Another benefit to having this elevated fire is you can stuff some more fuel down in there. Keep this thing going. Take your thicker pieces of wood, you can just rest it right in there. Keep this thing going. Throw your little pieces right on top. This thing will burn good. If I can get it. So the lines. Throw it on top. Good fire. Burning nice and warm. Pretty sparky from that pine, but be alright. Got this area really cleared out. You see a little bit of snow. But yeah, we scraped this with our boots and some pieces of wood. Clear the area of any leaves or debris so you don't catch fire. Of course, we got the creek right over here. Can't see it too well. The water's right there. Just a few feet away in case we need to use it. Brian brought some hot dogs. So he's cutting out right now. Cook some up. Pretty hungry. So, yep. There you go. Log cabin fire. We got the log cabin fire going pretty good. Somewhat collapsed on the other side, but that's the reason why you want to use your bigger, thicker pieces first, because they're good support and they'll stay up a lot. It'll take a lot longer to burn. Got some nice hot coals under there. You can just keep adding fuel if you need to. I got my hot dog. Put these two sticks in the ground, across them. Rested it in there and have that holding it up so I can spin it and put this back on top. It'll sit right. That one side's cooked pretty good and then the other side's going. So yeah, real nice fire. Very warm, burning really hot. A little bit of a breeze, so keeps it going. So with this log cabin and the good support that it has, as long as it's not super burned through, you can put your pan, pot right on top of some pieces of wood. The breeze is really kind of picking up now, so this thing is burning like a madhouse. So it's good. But we get some hot dogs in there, put a little bit of water so they don't burn to the pan. Yep, there you go. So we're cooking our food, kind of running low on some wood. Got a little bit left. Got some of that, but you want to get a little bit more. And once your fire is really burning, as long as it's got a good flow of oxygen. The wood you collect doesn't need to be completely dry. So let's look around. I can show you an example of stuff that's okay. Like this. On the ground, so it's pretty wet, but it's not too rotten. I guess it is a little bit down there, but up there you can see the inside. It is wet, but it's a little bit solid yet. So you can put this right on the fire. It will dry out as it burns, giving your fire a little bit more life. So I'm gonna try and stick this on, but it is rolling a little bit, so let's see if I can fix that first. Just like that. All right. So just like that, you can put the not so dry wood on it, and it will burn eventually. A lot slower than dry wood, but it's not such a bad thing. Alright, so it is time to go. So we're gonna have to put this fire out. Got a bucket of water over here. Might need a little bit more, but we got the creek right by us, so we can put it out. What you want to do is spread it out. Make sure you got plenty of room here. Get these coals all spread out so they're not burning into each other. Take your bucket of water. You have to do this a few times. Just completely drench all the wood before you leave. You don't want a forest fire to start. Part of being responsible, practicing these skills. Being out in the woods, build a fire, you gotta put it out. Kept coming down the creek. Okay. And when you're doing this, you don't want to bury the coals because they can still stay alive on the ground. Won't obviously have a flame. The embers can still survive. So once you're done spreading a good amount of water on it, fine. Give a little bit more. Just go ahead and stomp around. Make sure it all gets coated. You can use a little stick in that mush. Make sure there's no coals burning. Spread everything out. A couple embers there. Stick them in the slush. I'm gonna put a little bit more water on here. You can see it's steaming a little bit, but some of it may be smoke. Just to be safe, we're gonna put a little bit more water on it before we leave. That's how you want to put out a fire, so there's no more steam or smoke. You can't feel any heat from it. Just to be safe.